In many articles and editorials, Left Horizons has consistently described Keir Starmer's leadership as Tory light. But with his government's last stance on welfare benefits, it's clear he's gone full Tory. There's nothing being said by Labour ministers about benefit cuts that wouldn't sound right coming from any Conservative leader from the last 15 years. In fact, former Tory ministers are openly praising Starmer's approach. The government seems to be slightly softening some cuts, especially on personal independence payments, otherwise known as PIP, that many disabled people depend on, but let's not be fooled. PIP will become harder to obtain and other severe cuts are being enacted, particularly towards young people, which will in turn make their mental health worse. Which is what this government seems to complain about all the time, that young people have poor mental health, and that's why they're not working. Do you think this is going to make it better, Reeves and Starmer? Both Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer have a history on welfare benefits that shouldn't be forgotten. Back in October 2013, Reeves made clear her vision of Labour would be tougher than the Tories on welfare, explicitly stating that benefits should be forfeited if job offers were refused. Around the same time, Starmer, as Director of Public Prosecutions, championed longer jail terms for benefit fraud. And now, Liz Kendall has announced detailed welfare cuts, including massive reductions in incapacity benefits. Altogether, billions of pounds in cuts have been announced, directly impacting those too sick to work. Starmer promises, like Tory ministers before him, to protect the most vulnerable, but this rhetoric masks reality. The Times predicts around 1 million disabled people could lose their benefits. Starmer even attempts to present these cuts as having a moral justification, something former Tory Chancellor George Osborne didn't dare to attempt. Disability charities are rightly outraged, with many charities writing to Rachel Reeves pleading for a rethink. Their message is clear: these benefits are lifelines, often the only thing standing between survival and extreme poverty for disabled people. They emphasise that cutting benefits does not increase employment outcomes. Rather, it simply plunges more disabled people into hardship. These cuts aren't about helping people into work. They're straightforward cost cutting to manage a ballooning deficit. The poorest and most vulnerable are the easiest targets for politicians disconnected from working class realities. Meanwhile, there's no serious attempt to reclaim unpaid taxes from the wealthy or the super rich. Research by the National Institute of Economic and Social Research reveals the UK's welfare system is already among the least generous in the OECD. UK's welfare spending ranks near the bottom among advanced economies, and UK households now experience lower living standards than those in countries like Slovenia and Malta. These cuts aren't sudden, they've been predictable and clearly predicted. Starmer and Reeves, bound by their commitment to capitalist economics, are responding to pressure from big business and financial institutions. Interest payments on national debt have skyrocketed because corporate interests have effectively forced higher rates, squeezing the government into making cuts elsewhere. On top of this financial pressure, Starmer insists on increasing UK defence spending by an additional £13 billion annually. This means 1 million disabled individuals face deeper poverty to satisfy defence contractors and financial institutions. But where is the opposition? Unfortunately, not from within Labour's cabinet or the Parliamentary Labour Party, dominated mostly by careerists and political opportunists. Even backbench MPs forming groups like the Get Britain Working Group are cheering on these cuts. The real opposition must and will come from the trade union movement. Union members overwhelmingly oppose welfare cuts, even though some right-wing union leaders have shamefully backed Starmer at every step. The rank-and-file union members hold the key. If the ground beneath Labour's right wing is starting to shift now, it's nothing compared to the anger and resistance they'll face at upcoming union conferences.
He walked through the door next door, was to audit the books. What she found was a £22 billion black hole.
The books. And what we found was a £22 billion black hole. Tough. £22 billion black hole. We found £22 billion worth of unfunded because of the £22 billion black hole. £22 billion black hole. The £22 billion black hole.
Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and head over to our website at www.lefthorizons.com. Subscribe to our newsletter and read the full article for a more in-depth analysis on our website. You can also find this video as a podcast-only version on Spotify. Link is in the description below. Goodbye for now.